Hello, my name is Michaela McGregor and I am a law student at Boston University School of Law, and I'm currently in my first year. I was planning for some videos and it occurred to me I did law school reaction, LSAT reaction, and kind of why I chose the school that I did, but I never actually made a law school application video. So if you are applying to law school, you're in the process, or you're planning on doing it in the future, and you're kind of wondering what tips might help to improve your application, you've come to the right video. Before we begin, don't forget to click subscribe, and then you can also, if you don't have notifications on, turn on notifications so that you can see when videos are posted. Also, don't forget to like, share, comment, all of that if you enjoy this, if you find it helpful. I'm really grateful and really appreciate it. Yeah, so I struggled a little bit with this list because I think that you can get very granular. There's so many components to a law school application between the transcripts and the letters of recommendation and the personal statement and the LSAT score and your GPA and everything. Like, it can get very nitty-gritty with advice to follow. So I just kind of went through what I found to be most helpful or things I learned the hard way when I was filling out my application, and I figured I would start off with some general advice for the personal statement. I think one of the most important things in law school, what law schools value the most is whether or not you can bring a unique voice into the classroom. So in your personal statement, really lean into one aspect of your identity. I say one aspect, it can definitely be more than one, but I think the more focused you are, the better, because if you just in general make it about your whole life, it just feels a little bit less driven in a way. But really dive into life experiences, specific life experiences that pertain to that aspect of your personality. Ground it in reality, make it a story, make it something that whoever's reading it, they have an image in their mind. It's not just abstract declarations of who you are or who you'd like to be. In the same vein, show more than a generic interest in law school. Of course, a lot of students who go to law school do it because they care about justice, for example, and they want to bring justice to the world. But just saying I want justice it's a bit generic. So you've got to tie in real examples, you've got to hone your statement. What exactly about justice do you care about? And also, if you have an interest in a particular area of law schools like to see that you're actually invested in law and you're not just doing this on a whim. So if you say, I'm really interested in IP law because of XYZ part of my identity, which was grounded when I went through XYZ event back in 2021. I think that's just generally a good structure to kind of Don't waste time talking about people who have influenced you. You can definitely mention them, but I know that a lot of people struggle with, if you're talking about someone who's your inspiration, don't make the essay about them. The essay should be about you. Avoid cliche stories, and this goes for any advice that you'll ever read for just undergraduate essay tips. You don't want to start off with it was the big moment of the big game, like a high school football game or something like that, or the worst day of my life was when, just you don't want it to sound like it's written by ChatGPT, fill in the blank kind of story structure. And don't use ChatGPT while I'm on that. I want to make a video about ChatGPT. That might be in the future. Show an angle of yourself that's not in your resume. If your resume has a lot about something you've done in work, you can definitely expand on that in your personal statement, but make sure there's something new in your statement that you can't just get out of your extracurriculars and work experience. Similarly, don't just repeat what you've put in any mini essays for that school, because each school tends to have other little questions that accompany the personal statement, so don't be repetitive in those. Have a different topic for each. When submitting your personal statement, make sure that you've got your header properly aligned, properly formatted, and also make sure that you include your LSAC number. This goes for any communications you have with the school, just for ease, for for admissions and everything. Always include your LSAC number. It'll make their lives much easier. The LSAT. Oh, the LSAT. That was my nemesis. I took it 3 times. As I mentioned, I did record a reactions video. You can go and watch those reactions if you so desire, but it was not fun. I don't want to sugarcoat it. It was not fun. But unfortunately, it's a hugely important element to the law school applications process. The LSAT really does influence your chances of getting in. LSAT, GPA, it's a magic formula to get in. And of course, the personal statement matters, but what really matters is LSAT and GPA, sadly. Some general tips for that. I think I mentioned some when I talked about how I studied for the LSAT, so I'm just gonna do kind of some random things here that I found useful. Taking it more than 3 times is a little bit rough. Then it's okay, 4 times, that's getting to be a bit. Definitely not 5 times. Listen to the Power Score podcast. I discovered this after I took the LSAT for the first time, and it is run by these 2 guys who evaluate the exam, and they actually have really incredible tips. They, based on past exams, they try to predict what what content is going to be on the LSAT. And as far as I'm aware, it's like perfectly legal because they're a pretty official podcast. So yeah, definitely utilize them. Take the LSAT only when you are ready because it is expensive. Be prepared to lose many hours of your life on this exam. Think of it as a part-time job in which you don't get paid and you just feel really sad a lot of the time. I mean, I liked the logic games. I had fun with those, but everything else was not fun. Do a cold diagnostic just for growth purposes. You can see how far you go. It's really a good idea to take a diagnostic before studying. Don't study at all. Just take the exam. Not the real exam, a practice exam. As I said, money. Start off with Khan Academy, an LSAT training book. By training book, I mean like one that walks you through how to approach each section. That's very useful. Khan is incredible because it's free. Similarly, you'll want to take a lot of practice exams. I did most of them. If you dig around online, you can find some free PDF versions. That's what I did. I don't know if they've been taken down. If you're able to find them, hopefully you can. They're really useful. Get a 7Sage account. It's free. I just found it to be a really useful website for tracking law schools, but also for tracking my LSAT scores, so I could keep track of if I'm going up and down and, you know, which types of questions I miss the most. It gives you really great data and stats on your results. So I would do my LSATs by hand, and then afterwards I'd fill in my answers into 7Sage. It's really worth the time investment. Get a routine down. You don't want to just be like, oh, okay, I have time today, I'll study. You want to make sure you have a plan, study routine that is really legitimate and established. Practice questions in 2 ways. Some days, take your time, look at each one, and try to figure out what really is the right answer here. And then other times, do it under the timed conditions. Pretend you're actually in the exam, time yourself, everything like that. Speaking about timing, do not take the LSAT if you're not finishing your practice exams. If you're not able to finish the section within the allotted time, then you're not ready for the final exam because you never want to be guessing on questions, ideally. So make sure you're in the time limit and then take the exam. Join like a Reddit group for the LSAT. I just found it to be really nice. Misery loves company. Everyone is on there just talking about the exams and everything. It's really great to have that camaraderie. A lot of people I remember asked on the LSAT Reddit page, or even like law school application page, whether they should write addenda. I would say only write an addendum for your LSAT score if there's an extreme reason. If you're thinking to yourself like, oh, I don't know if I should write an addendum because like maybe this isn't relevant, then it's probably not relevant. If you do write an addendum though, make sure that it's very concise, explanatory. It's not over the top or dramatic or anything. You don't have to be like overly apologetic, just to the point. What to do while in college. I'll go over these quickly because they're pretty obvious. Participate deeply in clubs. You want to show leadership in your clubs. Write an interesting thesis because this gives you a lot of leverage for not only your law school applications, but also later down the road with interviews in law school. I don't know how many times I've talked about my research that I did. And of course, if you're already graduated, get some meaningful work experience. You don't want to just apply to law school and be like, yeah, I graduated and then I didn't really do much in the meantime. Get as high a GPA as you can. Of course, take classes with the same professor multiple times, get to know them, go to their office hours, etc., etc., etc. And then also diverse professors. What I mean by this is have professors write letters of recommendation for you that are in, you know, potentially different departments, or like maybe one's an advisor, one is a more seminar style professor, because they'll just give different perspectives of you. So definitely get some diversity with the style of class, the type of class, that kind of thing. Interviews, I don't have any tips for interviews simply because I didn't really have any interviews. I only had those Cornell Cura interviews or whatever where it's just a recording and then they watch it back. Like I think UConn had it as well, which is really awkward because then you're not actually talking to anyone. I'd rather a live interview. Anyway, dress nicely. It's kind of a given, but definitely come with unique, tailored questions that you cannot find the answer to on the website. Don't ask them something boring that they get asked 100 times a day. Be prepared just to talk about the classes you've taken, work you've been engaged in. Show passion. Don't just feel like you're there to get it done. You know, show your interest, and also just smile a lot because it goes a long way and it shows your interest in law school. And then you should have down by heart, back of your hand, why you want to go to law school. If you do not have this well crafted and they say, hey, why do you want to go to law school? And you're like, and then you kind of fumble for an answer, that's a really bad look. So make sure you've got it down entirely. Why do I have so much hair that I keep feeling tickling my arms? Make sure you have that down by heart. And then lastly, I just want to give some more generic LSAC tips. lovely LSAC. Once you've figured out which law schools you're applying to and you've added them on LSAC, you're going to have to fill out the applications on LSAC. So something I didn't realize was that you can often transfer a lot of the information from one application to the next. And I wasn't entirely finished. Like, I thought I'd go back and proofread. What you want to do is put in a really perfect first application. Like, make sure your first application is amazing, because then you can just transfer that information often to the next applications. Whereas I kind of like did each one piecemeal, but they weren't perfect. Then I had to go back and individually edit each one. It was really dumb what I did. Don't do what I did. Proofread 100 times, not 100, proofread multiple times for each one before you submit it. Make sure you do not ever say the name of a school for the wrong school. That would be really embarrassing. Attend an LSAC forum. This is a really great way to get to meet admissions people. I went to an in-person one in Chicago, and it was really intimidating because everyone was there in wear business formal clothing, which I didn't realize. I had at least a nice outfit on, but I was like the only one not in, like a suit jacket. It was a little awkward. And then, come with questions. You can get a lot of brochures, and sometimes they have you like write down your email or something, which is great for demonstrated interest. Watch, I found Dean Z on YouTube. Her videos to be really helpful. She does admissions for University of Michigan, and she just shows really great behind the scenes of what they're looking for. So I'd recommend those. And then lastly, fee waivers exist. Some of them are need-based, some are merit-based. Merit-based ones, sometimes you'll receive them unsolicited in your email inbox, which is lovely. So make sure that you have the emails enabled on LSAC so that you can receive those from schools, but also you can request them. And I definitely did this. You just email, there are a bunch of templates online for this kind of thing. You email the admissions and basically say, can I get a fee waiver? But in a very diplomatic way. Just make sure before you email them, check to see if they have a form on their website, because a lot of law schools just have a form that you can fill out. I think this is probably going to be a short video, but I hope that it helps you and that you feel more secure in your application. Probably no one's even actually applying right now, because everyone's just getting their decisions in right now. So this is a little bit not apropos of the time to apply for law school. Anyway, whenever you're watching this, best of luck with your admissions, and I hope it goes really well. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful rest of your week.